Okay, let's talk about making a circle and making better circles with your legs and your seat. And it actually has a lot to do with how you're positioned on the horse. When we're asking the horse to make an arc out of its entire body, we're doing so with our body. So we have to find a balance point. We want the shoulder, the hip, and the heel. Button number 1 is in front of the girth. Button number 2 at the girth. Button number 3 behind the girth. So your inside leg is going to be in button number 1, but not touching the horse. You guide it with the hip. You actually lift up with your hip and a little bit with your inside shoulder. You close the circle with your outside hip. So, watch what I mean. When I come around, I'm actually pushing all the way through with my outside hip a little bit until I get a result. And then, once I get the result, then I can add, watch the lower leg. Just the lower leg. That's the back of the calf. But I got to keep my shoulder up and keep the horse in an arc. This way, I'm making the horse make that arc. So it's a little different. You're actually forcing the horse to go through your seat. Now, number 1, we're going to tip the horse's eye in until we can see a little bit of the eye and a little bit of the corner of the nose. Now, with your leg, you're going to be kind of opening the door. So your hip actually lifts on the inside and you open the door towards the cone or to the center. Now, keeping the horse straight, you're going to close the door with your hip and outside leg. So actually pushing all the way through your hip will push all the way through until you hit your lower leg. So that's going to be a press and release and to keep the horse on track. Now, here you go. Ayla's going to work with it. So you lift the inside of your hip a little bit and you follow through with the outside of your hip and push. There you go. Did you see the hip push? Push all the way through your hip. But you just push a little bit and release until you get, there you go. Now release and just keep on walking. Keep on walking until you get a step. Come on, push through it. There you go. Now with your hands, what she's doing is adding a little bit of indirect rein, and you're going to come over, tip his nose towards the center a little bit. There you go. Now come back with button number 3 and press through your hip and your leg. Now you're trying to kick instead of just press. That's why you're having a problem. Okay, we're going to talk about bending the horse with your legs and your hips as opposed to just the bridle, and bending through the horse's rib cage. This helps the horse become more elastic, but this also helps you as a rider. So, you lift your hip towards where you want to go. Your button number 1 on the inside, button number 2 to 3 on the outside. And you can push, depending on how much you need to, through your whole leg or just through the bottom of your calf. So, depending on how tight you want to circle. Now, the object of the game is to get the horse nice and light and not using or pulling on your reins. And you're going to keep your shoulder from dipping down. I have a tendency to dip down with my shoulder too. But you got to kind of lift up with that shoulder and keep the inside from falling in. So what it does is it increases the overall flexibility of the horse, but it also teaches you how to ride through your entire seat. Thank you guys so much for joining us on today's video. And if you enjoyed the video, give us a like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And remember, to see more, check out our playlists.